YouTube, what is up? Corrode is here. Let's talk about Corrode. So, more macro-based things, if we focus on defense, it is insanely hard to retake over towards A. So, retaking over towards A pretty much isn't going to happen, so you have to heavier hold this. You're going to have to have heavier blockers. It's pretty much why I think that a Sentinel is a must on this map, even though, in theory, you aren't going to have that many people flanking on defense. It's quite hard to, like, push aggro on defense, but just purely for defense, you want to be able to hold some of these chokes a little bit better to make sure that they can't get over towards A because you're not going to be able to retake A. Let me explain it quickly. Right, if I'm retaking this, look how many angles there are that I have to worry about. Right, there's actually just so many different angles that I have to worry about as I'm kind of clearing over towards middle. So rotating through middle, it's pretty much not going to be happening, or you're just going to get wrecked. And then rotating from spawn like this takes about 18 to 20 seconds. So, and then on top of that, anyone past this choke point goes into a crazy crossfire as well with multiple angles, depending on like how far you committed out. You are not retaking A. I promise you that. Adding on top of that as well is once people get the plant down, they've decided to make the most heavy Odin map I've ever seen. The Odin is getting nerfed because of this map. All the map changes. And it's just easier to nerf the Odin. There are so many spam spots with the Odin that also, in some of these, you can't spam back, that it is getting nerfed. It's so strong in this map, you might see 2 Odins, like per team. And on top of that, you might see Sova and Fade get played in the same comp. Because I'm telling you, with how A is especially, you're gonna want an Odin, right? Especially with these on the thought process of Fade and Sova, you've got walls like this, right? You heavy commit out, and you have straight walls where you can recon behind, and they have to 180 and turn. So Sova's over towards A with Odins, with recons, is going to be very, very scary. I'm doing a Coach Potatoes thing at the moment. Sova is in my team, and I was tempted to have Fade as well, but I did side for a Viper instead. And the reason that I think Viper is good is just being able to fight middle. I think that you insta want to block over towards middle here to actually kind of create a bit of pressure and not give the attack everything. They're pretty much always going to take over towards A main. I'll explain that in a little bit. But I think the Viper is good for just fighting a lot of places. There's also really cool one-ways that you can do over towards A if you need to play passive. There's just so much as well. You can do like more passive walls over towards middle if you kind of want to rotate through middle to save a bit of time if you are going over towards A instead of all the way through here. Right? You're kind of saving a lot of time being able to vision block over towards certain parts of middle. Viper is very, very good. And then if we're just thinking about attack as well, these chokes are very hard to get out of on the side. So if you can kind of lurk over towards any of these areas and you have like Viper that can actually help you do that, maybe win you some of the afterplant stuff, then it's a very good Viper map. And teams will find it hard to play against. So that is at least why in my team at the moment for Coach Potatoes. Again, combined 3 now because of, well, I mean, they're all because of Mini, but we'll still say combined 3 masters between us. So yeah, shout out to Mini for that one. Obviously, with PaperX helping them now. But yeah, if you want to check it out, Patreon, this is what we are working on at the moment. And so I've said that we have Viper, we have Sova, and on top of that as well, we have Omen. I think this is the best Omen map. Omen has so many TPs on this map that are super strong. We have default ones right over towards A. You can obviously fake this as well to create pressure. But when it comes to actually like execing over towards the sites, like TPing over towards here, and it's a good one-way on top of the hut. I don't know what people are going to be calling it. And like creating pressure that you TP over towards heaven. You can go into heaven with the TP. You could go on the floor. You can go into multiple corners that are like relatively safe. And you can just mix it up all the time. And you can do similar stuff over towards A as well. So I do think that Omen is in an incredible spot when it comes to this map. You might even see the Omen get nerfed because of this map as well. I think it's the best Omen map we've seen. Over towards middle as well. Just being able to TP like across here without being seen and create pressure at the bottom of the map is so strong. Or even just getting the Omen here and faking the TP as well is going to create so much pressure. So again, I do think that Omen is insane on this map. You might see an Omen nerf and an Odin nerf. So do I think Astra is good on this map? Sure, but I just think, again, when you want to exec over towards the site, I think that the Omen is incredible. Yoru, fast rotates, right? It takes you 18 to 20 seconds to do this. We've already spoken about the rotates. Having an Omen, nope. Having a Yoru to be able to have fast rotates really helps you out. And some of these angles, creating the pressure with the AWP, is going to be very good. And fighting over towards middle, I think that Yoru can kind of commit to some of these angles where you can TP out of as well. So I think that there's a lot of places on this map that you want to TP out of. So in my mind, Yoru is in the team, and that's why these are like the 4 out of the 5 that I'm making a comp for at the moment, because I just think that they're great. I'm not saying that other agents aren't bad at the moment on this map. I just think that these are probably the 4 that are like the easiest to plug and play and have relatively simple stuff. Other duelists are obviously quite good at this map, like Jet being able to entry into these and have a smoke that is self-sufficient is great, but again, I just think the Yoru is pretty much the best at the moment. Waylay got a pretty big buff, but I also think, I mean, maybe with the Omen, with some smokes that you can dash into, people will actually be able to make it look better than I think it is. But yeah, I think when it comes to the duelists on this map, I'm kind of leaning heavy into a Yoru. With this map at the moment, I'm not saying that what I'm doing is meta, because obviously this is like leaning heavy into double controller. I think this map is insanely open. I think you can have double controller. I think you can have double initiator. Again, I think most teams will probably lean to a fade Sova, even though it's not traditional. I do think that, again, with the long rotates, getting information on the sides and just having so many spots that you can spam, that the fade and the Sova is very useful. So I can see double initiator being a thing. I can see double duelist being a thing. If you wanna, or you feel like maybe with the Sova drone, you take easy mid control, and then you can actually just burst over towards these sites. I do think that like a Neon's really good for at the beginning, barrier down, being able to send it on some areas, right? Instantly being able to wall over the top like this is awesome. It creates so much pressure. So again, like a Neon Yoru or something like this, like a Waylay Yoru, Waylay Neon, something like that. I'm not entirely sure. I think the teams might lean into something like that. It is definitely doable on this map. And then double, so we covered double controller, double duelist, and double initiator. Let's talk about sentinels. I think you can do double sentinel. I think you can definitely do double sentinel. I think all the sentinels are good on this map. I think that Sage has some good walls, not that I would use it. I think like Deadlock has some good stuff. I think you can use that as well. The main thing, or the main person that I'm looking at, is Cypher. This wall over towards here being slanted just means that you get the best Cypher trips. You can have one close and you can have one far away, and they're so far away from each other that you shouldn't have a shock that can kill both. You have to use 2 shocks to go break a lot of that. On some of the defaults, some of these trips are good. Every single default as well on attack, right? You can have a camera here that spots if anyone goes aggro A, and at the same time I can then go over towards B and throw a cage from the top here that locks people in over towards B, and you hear if anyone's trying to help them out with the sound. So nice. I think Cypher's great on this map. I think he gets so much info and so much pressure. And when Cypher can have a lot of space or like pressure on attack and can take mains on his own on attack, Cypher's normally very good. And this is a map where Cypher can default A main and B main at the same time, really, or at least help out B main with the cage and then get the information over towards A, and can also just heavy B main default on his own, or at least get the early info. So I think that Cypher is great on this map on attack and defense, and there's some insane trips. So that's why in the comp we are leaning on Cypher. I do also think that Vice is very good. I was considering at one point like a double Sentinel, because I just think that some of the wall and the info over towards the side is like pretty good, and I think a lot of the flashes that you can do through the wall is useful as well. But I think again, with what we're just trying to achieve for what we're making, it just makes more sense to kind of lean on what people are comfortable with. So this is the comp at the moment that I think is like insanely good. Again, if you want to check it out, Patreon, we're still making it at the moment. I'm still kind of on the server just doing a lot of things, but it's a cool map. My one My one big thing about it is it's not going to be that fun to watch eventually because it's just going to be so much Odin spam that we're going to get sick of it pretty fast. But I hope that it gets the Odin nerfed. I really, really do. I hope we get to see the Odin get nerfed. But it's a cool map. It's actually like in my opinion, having a map that like you have to fight this on defense, like you have to hold this, but you can retake this is pretty cool. And we've got a mid that kind of makes sense. And there maybe isn't the most reactions you can do on defense, but I think it's okay because your reaction kind of has to be to fight and hold A, because again, I don't think you're retaking it. Or you might have to fight heavy middle so that you get a faster rotate. So you are still being proactive enough on defense, in my opinion, that this is a good map. So I'm pretty happy with it, but again, the wall spam lets it down a little bit. It does let it down a little bit. It's not gonna be fun to watch eventually, but for the first like 4 months, it's gonna be really cool. And then hopefully we get some kind of Odin nerf anyway. That's what we're hoping. But again, most stuff's pretty good. I can kind of just go through that. Astra's fine. Breach is actually very good. It's just the fact that Breach isn't like crazy meta at the moment. But I think if people wanted to do some kind of Neon comp with some good thought process, it would work okay. But again, I would only be doing that if I'm doing double Jewelists. But then if you're doing double Jewelists, you can't really have a solo Breach. So I don't think the Breach is going to work that well in the current meta. Brim, the map's too big for Brim. Chamber's very good. Map is too big for Clove, but obviously in ranked, it's going to be good. Cypher's great. One of the better Cypher maps. Deadlock's really cool, right? A lot of nice trips that you can do where like people are going to actually be fighting in these areas. And then again, getting information on the side on the fence is pretty cool. You can do good defaults with the grav nets. So I think you might see a team that wants to bring out something with Deadlock. You could definitely do some really cool pushes on the fence as well if you wanted to. Fade, very, very good. Again, you might see Fade instead of a Viper with the comp that I'm doing at the moment, something similar to that, depending on how teams feel. Gecko, it's a very good Gecko map, it is, but I just think there's better agents at the moment, but I think some teams will lean into Gecko. Harbor, Harbor's getting a rework, and I want to say teams won't use Harbor, but in theory it's a good Harbor map. Like on paper it's a good Harbor map, but I feel like that's most maps, and then you play Harbor and it's just not good. So you might see some Harbor, but again, I don't think it's good. ISO, sure, but because of the paper thin walls, I think the shield isn't going to be as good. But I will say that the orbs are like at least B orb on attack is relatively easy to get. Then you have Jet going to be good. KO going to be okay, but it's not the same as like Ascent, right? A lot of your knives go out and they don't get you like full information in terms of like the easier ones over towards sight. B-main's like the main one, even though there are some really good flashes. So some teams might lean into this and just go full Ascent mode. But I think eventually they'll probably change it to a Fade, to be honest, especially if they're using a Yoru. But yeah, you might have some nice, like, you might lean on to that, right? If you might lean on to this if you're going to actually do this, right? Just full Ascent modes. But again, I think there's better options. Where are we up to? Killjoy's okay, but there's some better options. Again, the ults are kind of nice to get you over towards sight, so some team might lean into that, but again, I just think Cypher's way better. Neon, spoke about Neon. Omen's good. Phoenix, actually pretty legit, to be fair, especially for ranked. Phoenix is going to be unreal in ranked. You can default over towards B on your own, molly this, flash the corner, get the orb every single round. You got a lot of ults. There's at least 4 ults pretty much on your attack. So Phoenix good. Raze is okay because some of the fast double satchels, but again, I think there's better maps. And also the Boombot's kind of nice, but again, I would lean into more of I would look at the other Duelists. Reyna, good for ranked. Sage, definitely doable. Sage is definitely doable, especially like the wall over towards middle. You can kind of fight and see over the top of the wall here. There's some walls on A site where you can see and punish this as well. There's some walls over towards B main, which are really nice as well. So definitely some stuff you can do with Sage if you wanted. I wouldn't use it long term, but I think this can be good. Especially for the plant, maybe sometimes, or some of these areas that get spammed by Odin. You might be able to get through some of the areas. I think that Sage is okay. Sky's okay, but again, kind of weak. You'd rather use a scan initiator. Sova good. Teo just needs a buff. Viper good. Vice good. Waylay. I think you'll see a team use Waylay. I don't know who's going to do it, but I think that the buffs are actually pretty big. The slow orb, which I think is this one, is very fast and very big. And then Yoru, I believe, is the best on this map just because of the heavy rotating. Okay, that's it. We've yapped for long enough. I don't know when the map's out. I think it's out tomorrow, so you guys can try it yourself. And yeah, let me know if I'm sleeping on any agents on this map, but I don't think I am. Maybe, again, Chamber's very good. I said that already. Especially when Chamber's good in these maps where you're at the angle fast, right? You're at this angle fast here, so you can default all the way around. You can then put a trip over towards here to see if they're going to re-push. Wait, I should do this with off everything. Right, you can put your TP here. You can put your trip in the corner, right? See if they re-push here once you've cleared it. And at the same time, you have the pressure of your op over towards here. The Chamber's very good, to be honest. I could see, I can see some double sentinel theory if they want. Also, your trip bottom and middle is like better than some of the other agents on this map as well, because you get to cover all of this, whereas like there's no trip that can cover all of this for Cypher. So again, Chamber's pretty cool, especially if you want to try some stuff in middle and TP out. Yeah, we covered it all. Thank you so much. I think Plat Chat's soon, and I think I'm on it. So I'll hopefully see you all then. All right, like, subscribe. I'll see you all soon. Bye, bye, bye.